Hi guys, welcome back to my channel for part 2 of maintenance. In part 1 we covered bearings, and in part 2 we're going to be covering your drive shafts, or dog bones as you may know them. Just before we get into it, I just want to cover why it's important about looking after your drive shafts. I predominantly race on grass during my regional season, and I race on AstroTurf during my summer national season. A lot of manufacturers, when you're building your drive shafts to kit, pretty much advise that you run moly grease, and that attracts a lot of dirt and a lot of grit. On a moving part, this is going to wear it. So if you don't keep on top of the maintenance, this is going to cost you money because you're going to wear these parts out. Drive shafts are not the cheapest of parts, so with a little bit of maintenance, you can increase the longevity of these parts. So without further ado, let's go on to the video. So the first thing I want to start off by saying is you might note that these drive shafts look a bit different. This is the Schumacher version of a CVD. A lot of the other companies have like a full cup around the end of the ball on the dog bone, but essentially they are still the same drive shaft. You would still clean them the same and they will still function the exact same. So what you need to begin by doing is taking your drive shaft apart. In the Schumacher case, it's a grub screw holding in a pin and a barrel. So you take all these apart. So what I like to do is I start off by just using some brake cleaner to clean all the individual parts, get all the old moly grease, whatever other lubricant you're using on your drive shaft. Get it clean of all this. Be as thorough as you can. Roll the pins, spray the open parts. You probably won't get every single bit, just do your best. For the axle section, you can spray on the inside of the axle cup. Then just get a cotton bud, that's what I like to use. Spray the end with brake cleaner, just give it a bit more of a thorough clean. This will get any of the excess dirt out. Then you can always dry it off with the other end of the cotton bud once you've done this bit. Now we're at the section when it comes to re-lubricating the drive shaft, and you've got several options such as moly grease. You've also got the option of axle grease from Schumacher, or I like to use the dry lubrication from Schumacher, and the reason I use this is I just find that it picks up a lot less of the dirt and sand and mud from various surfaces that I race on. Find with the moly grease, it tends to pick up a lot of the track surfaces, which turns it into like a grinding paste. With this stuff, just put a dab over the barrels, just let it settle. Then, moving on to the next part. Take the barrel, just slide that back into the dog bone, making sure you line up the hole correctly for the pin. I like to put a very small touch of the lubrication inside the cup as well of the axle, and a very small bit on the ball end of the dog bone. Then you want to sit that back inside, and you want to get the pin through it. Now, with a Schumacher, these pins have a flat spot on them for the grub screw. Make sure that the orientation is correct when you rebuild these. Also essential when you're rebuilding with the grub screw is some thread lock. If you do not thread lock these, they will rattle themselves loose. Very, very important to make sure you replace the thread lock on these. I always advise as well, if you build any brand new cars that come with these, take them apart and redo the thread lock. Not all companies will send them thread locked. A lot of the kits you'll have to build them up part by part, but sometimes, such as in Schumacher's case, if you buy these CVDs as an optional extra, they already come pre-built, so just take the grub screw out and apply some more Loctite. Once I've built it up, as you can see, I put a little bit more onto the ball end of the dog bone. This isn't really possible with a lot of manufacturers' CVDs, but with the Schumacher only having the sort of half cup on the axle end, it allows you the space to do this. So then we're just going to repeat the process for the second drive shaft. So that concludes part 2 of maintenance, which is your drive shafts. Thanks very much for watching this video, and if it was helpful, please hit the subscribe button and also share it through your social media. If you've not already done it, please watch part 1, which is your bearings, also another essential part of maintenance which could save you a lot of money in the long run if you look after them. Part 3, we're going to be covering shocks maintenance. This is obviously a fairly important part and quite in depth. I will have that video up as soon as possible, so please check back. See you later.